our parents would get mad at us.
Yeah.
It's dinner time. It's 78 to 79. You know,
And I bet they were rough games.
oh, bad.
No mercy.
Yeah, because he was smaller than I was, but he was 4 years older, so he was mentally way tougher.
He had the age on you, but yeah.
So I took my beatings from him, and I don't know, it was just awesome. It was great. But yeah, as far as the recognition goes, that was the best
Denver,
part of it.
Colorado. Yeah,
It's a long ways from Maine.
Long ways. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we got Joe Holland with us today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Joe Holland.
The Joe Holland.
Who the heck is Joe Holland from Jefferson, Maine?
I've been asked that before.
And I laughed so hard, Joe, when you said that. The guy, the trapper,
Yeah.
said, "Who the heck is Joe Holland from Jefferson, Maine?"
Yeah.
And you said, "Well, I am."
That's me. Who are you?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a treat.
Yeah, it is.
It's a treat for me.
I appreciate you.
Believe
over
me,
from camp.
believe me, it's my pleasure, guys.
Yeah, it's a bit of a haul from the camp, isn't it? We're on the other end of the county here, so
You're about as far away as you can get.
we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go a few feet further,
Yeah.
you're going to be in Canada.
It's the last house on the right.
Yeah.
I like that.
You
That was
keep
good
going,
directions.
you're going to be.
And it really put it in perspective for me with the 18-wheelers turning around and getting nervous.
You've heard about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So
Are you originally from Jefferson, Maine? Is that where you?
Well, that's where we've lived since 1987.
Okay.
Yeah, before that we lived for a year in the next town over. My parents were looking for a place to settle down in Maine. And what happened was there's a fishing lake in Jefferson, and the local pastor brought my dad there fishing, and he fell in love with it.
Oh,
so
wow.
we moved to Jefferson. It's Clary Lake.
Okay.
And I think we have caught every fish in that lake at least twice. It's just a small little lake.
I believe you have, Joe.
No,
Or could.
My dad's 10 times the fisherman I
know,
am.
yeah. Well, you were taught well then.
You
You were
did
paying
teach me well.
attention.
I was actually just thinking about it yesterday. Like, I don't know why it made me think of it. Is when I was really young, we used a 3-hook Rapala.
Yeah.
And he would give me that. A lot of times he'd take a couple hooks off, but because it floated and it didn't get hung up. And then I remember graduating to a spinnerbait or a jig, something that you had to work through the water column or feel the bottom.
Yeah.
And then that type of stuff would get hung up. So then my dad would have to,
Right,
turn the
so
boat around,
A lot of work.
get me unhung. And that's the reason I was thinking about it. I was fishing with a fellow who said, I got a $12 Rapala stuck on that ledge right over there. So it got me thinking, I used to fish a lot of those Rapalas growing up. They weren't $12 back then, but they floated and they caught a lot of fish.
Yeah.
We
use them.
We have good luck at the lake.
We use them.
On
Gold, the 2-hook, the 2 treble hook. And they float, Joe, but when we troll for salmon and trout. They go under the surface maybe 2 or 3 feet, and it's perfect in the springtime. And they catch fish.
Oh, yeah.
They catch fish.
We'll usually, because we like to troll streamers.
Yeah.
So we troll and each of us have a rod. We'll put a third rod out with that Rapala.
With a Rapala. Always a Rapala on it.
Is what outfishes?
Yeah.
Does it
some
outfish
days,
them?
that's the only rod catching fish.
And
it's crazy.
I like gold. I mean, some people I've seen blaze orange. People go for the blaze orange and silver, and they make a lot of different types now.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can get them to look like.
When I was a kid, it was gold or silver.
Yeah.
It was either 2-hook or 3-hook, and then they came up with a sinking one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love marketing, and there's actually there was a magazine ad for Rapala. I don't know if you've ever seen this one, but it said Lori Rapala invented a lure to feed his family. And there's a family of about 12 kids, and they're all just as round as tall.
yeah,
So it was
they were fed what it was. I've never seen it.
He had quite a family feed. I saved it. If I ever find it, I'll mail it up or bring it up to you.
Yeah,
It must have worked.
It's the greatest ad ever, though, because
It's too funny.
That is true.
Yeah.
How many siblings?
Two and one more. My parents, we adopted my younger brother when I was about 17.
Okay.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now,
tremendous.
is he in Maine still?
Yep.
Yeah. Does he come up to the camp at all? Or
No, he didn't really get into the outdoors stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
He's into like powerlifting and the gym. we're all different. We're so different, you know, like
Well,
each brother.
Something tells me you can probably lift.
You look like a rugged dude.
Just farm strength. Not,
Yeah.
Well, that's something.
I used to be in better shape. but-
I've seen you swing an axe, and I'm
Yeah.
saying that the guy's rugged.
Yeah.
He's a rugged guy.
Yeah, I was fortunate growing up on a farm, on a dairy farm. I worked
So
there.
that's a lot of work.
Oh, it was
That doesn't
amazing.
end.
No, it was the greatest. I'd do it. I'd be a farmer right now if I could afford to be. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, we milked cows. We milked 80 cows, and I worked there from 7th grade until a year after college.
Yeah. I had a good friend, my best friend in high school. He worked on a dairy farm here in Fort Fairfield. It was probably one of the last ones. And that owner, it had been like, I don't know how many decades before, you know, he had a day off.
Yeah,
Went on a vacation.
same thing happened.
It's 24/7,
Yeah.
dairy farm.
When I finally got old enough, I gave the owner his first vacation.
Yeah.
I think ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of work. I'm not that committed to milk or cows or
No.
anything like that.
I loved it. I just loved the work, and like,
Yeah.
and we were, the only thing we didn't do was diesel
Yeah.
mechanics. That was the only thing, like injectors.
You kind of have to
had to.
be a jack of all trades. If
Yeah.
you can't hire out everything, Joe.
No.
If you're running a business or whatever,
Yeah.
even running a household, I do a lot of things myself, plumbing and electrical, and
That's where it's at now.
yeah, it is.
I tell all these
It
kids
is.
that work for me, I'm like,
yeah.
they're still looking at college, and if they ask me for advice, I tell them go into the trades.
Yeah.
That's good advice because I heard so many people in the last few years say they needed a plumber or an electrician and they can't find one.
Yeah.
You can't get one to show up.
You can't get them to
I
show
know.
up.
And then when you do, the price of it's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, you're paying by the minute, not by the hour.
Yeah, that's good advice.
And I just show them like my plumber and electrician
Mm.
friends and HVAC and stuff. I show them my friends because they come, they're customers, and they show up in new vehicles, and they have camps, and they have vacations.
Yep.
It's a
and
good way of life.
It's a great way of life. I mean, they work hard.
Yeah, they do.
and it's a good, honorable business.
Yeah.
But see, it was the weirdest thing is when I came through high school, they not only weren't pushing that, they were pushing against it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like when I came through high school, it was all about college.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was the
Yeah.
first college graduate in my family.
Yeah.
And so that meant something. But they like Votech was for the bad kids in my
Right.
high school.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
it was just the bad kids.
Same with us.
And even, and I hate to say this, but even like the military was for the bad kids when I went through high school. It was not pushed as an honorable trade or anything
You
like
are
that.
exactly right. Same way when I went to school. I graduated in the mid 70s and stuff, and it was the same way.
Huh.
You needed to go to college, and parents pushed it. Schools pushed it, you know, that you needed to go to college to really become anything.
Yeah.
And that can't be any further from the truth now.
By far, honest, like if it's about money, all the millionaires that I know, I don't think any of them graduated college.
Yeah, I did. And then I drove truck
There you go.
for 40
Yeah.
years, you know, or 37 and a half. So, yeah. So I never used what but
Yep.
I get through by the skin of my teeth. Yeah.
What'd you go to school for? Yeah.
Baseball. Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. I went for baseball.
Yeah, I know you love baseball.
Loved it.
St. Joseph's?
St. Joe's, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the best experiences of my life. Like I tell the kids, don't go to college, but if you do, get everything you possibly can out of it. Because
Charlie Furbush?
yeah, he was after me.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd have been a few years after
Yeah,
me.
my daughter knew him.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
Yeah, I watched him pitch
He's tremendous.
in Seattle, Washington. I think he was pitching at the time for the Detroit
He
Tigers.
sure was.
And I watched him pitch.
Yeah.
And my daughter sitting there, oh my goodness, I used to party with him.
Yeah,
See,
I didn't get a chance to follow his career.
Yeah,
Is he still playing?
I
or-
have no idea. That was quite a few years ago, so I'm assuming no.
Okay, yeah.
I'm assuming no, Joe. But it was just so funny because my daughter went to UNE and out of Westbrook.
Okay.
So they would go over and party at St. Joseph's.
They did. They partied at St. Joe's and USM.
Yeah. So she said, I know him. I know that guy. It's like the craziest thing. We're watching the Mariners, and
What position did you play?
I caught.
I
Yeah. I was a
I had you
catcher.
pegged in my mind as a catcher.
Yeah. I was in better shape then,
That's
but
a
I was
tough
always
position.
like farm tough. So
Yeah.
it worked out perfectly. And we had my senior year, we ended up having the best team, the best record in the nation. We went 36-4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I know you talk about Stevie there.
Yep.
He was a good ball player and stuff.
Tremendous. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Yankees signed him.
Yeah.
And he played. Doc Gooden was one of his coaches.
Yeah.
And he played, I think, just 1 or 2 years in the A ball. He was one of only 2 people on the team that spoke English.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a grandfather, my mother's father. He's in the Maine Baseball Hall of Fame. He was a catcher from Bath, Maine, and he got in the White Sox organization back in like 1917.
Yeah.
It was around the time of the what they call it,
The Black Sox scandal.
the Black Sox
Yeah.
scandal. Yeah.
1919.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got up. He got called up, but he only caught bullpen. He didn't get out in a game or anything. But he was.
He got a taste.
Yeah, he played a lot of semi-pro ball around Maine, and made money and stuff. They'd pay. I think he said he was getting about $150, $175, which back then was a lot of money for 2 games a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to, Joe, you get on the bass, a professional.
I was going to
bass.
go there. Yeah.
I know we got to
Yeah.
go there. That is amazing. A kid
How does
from
that
Maine.
happen?
Luck. Just luck. Yeah. I guess just luck, really. It just kind of where my life took me, at that time, and it was incredible, I got to say, and I made great friends on it that I
I'm
still
not
have
surprised
to this day, and
about that. So.
and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Is that where you met Dave Dudley?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. So
And he's a character.
he's like a 5-year-old on
Steroids.
on sugar for steroids. Yeah. He's a great friend of mine, tremendous
yeah.
outdoorsman,
Oh yeah.
and he's as much fun as you've seen. He's twice as fun in real life.
Off camera.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And he's I don't want to call him a savant, but he's absolutely brilliant on the water.
Yeah.
Like almost to a simple standard. Like a lot of people overlooked him, like his whole career, thinking, just a Southern hick, but man, that guy he's brilliant. The stuff he can come up with. And I think he's the second biggest money winner in the history of professional bass, over $4 million in winnings.
Wow. And he is such a personality and great on your on your show.
Yeah, he's a little too much for some people, but some people he's not enough, and I don't care. If anybody in my comments ever says I don't like this friend, or I don't care. They're my friends. They're on there. You know what I mean?
No, I can't. You're always gonna have.
You can't
people.
please everybody.
I know, right?
You can't, right, Paul.
Yeah.
You're not.
You're always
going
going
to
to have people hate you.
But David, he was so when I was a rookie, he took me under his wing, like on tour when there was like a hierarchy, like the pros. There's 200 pros. And there's your rookies that get hazed or, they don't get hung out with from the older guys. And he was at the top of the game and took me right under his wing, and we became friends instantly. And JT Kinney was another guy.
I've seen some of the videos with him.
He's awesome.
He seems like a riot.
He's top notch. And that's another guy. It was like we were in a parking lot, I think on Okeechobee, and we started talking deer hunting and then trapping or something. And 5 minutes later, we're like, did we just become best friends? And I was like, yeah. So then I traveled with JT, because the first couple of years I was on the tour, I was sleeping in my truck. I mean, that's all I could afford. I had 300 nights a year in my truck.
Same truck you have now.
Yeah, same.
That's
one.
we'll get into that.
Yeah,
too.
same one.
Yeah.
And then finally, JT and I hit it off, and Brian Thrift, who won Angler of the Year, one of the best fishermen ever, and Brian New, who was an up-and-coming rookie, who's now at the top of the game. The 4 of us roomed together on tour. Like we'd rent a house, and like Airbnbs were kind of new then. So we'd get one, and we ate better than I've ever eaten in my life, because they shot hogs, they shot deer. JT was catching grouper offshore. Like I was bringing moose, I was bringing moose and deer and stuff from Maine. They were bringing stuff from Virginia, stuff from Florida, stuff from North Carolina. Just it was all we ate was wild game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how long did that, was that, there was a season, obviously, Joe, that you started and then you finished. Summertime, obviously, that
Yep, it would start. I want to say in December. It would always start in the south,
Okay.
and it chased the spawn, which was really tough for me because here in Maine, the spawn is protected, and the bass organizations in Maine self-protected and said no tournaments during the spawn. So I never ever grew up fishing the spawn. We always gave them a break, and then when I went on tour, the schedule was actually set up around the spawn because you can catch you can catch them a little bit better around the spawn because there's more than just eating working against them. They're defending or trying to get ready to eat. So that was like one of the biggest learning curves for me was learning how to fish the spawn or pre-spawn or post-spawn or spawn. Yeah. And we would chase, like that schedule would start in Florida generally and follow it all the way to Texas.
Yeah. Come home during the off season? You come back to Maine?
Yeah, I did. And I had to have a job. I had to have a full-time job even while I was doing it because it's an expensive game if you're not at the top of it.
Yeah. Just getting into it, I can remember you going to the bank to get.
So I went to the bank, but I was so fortunate. I had an amazing sponsor from Maine who was one of the best bass fishermen in the history of Maine, was Mark Osgood, and he put me on the road. He said, "Hey, we're going to make this happen." And I fished. Wow. Yeah, I fished 2 years at the minor league level where you had to qualify for the major leagues. Right. And I qualified both years. The first year he said, "Oh, let's get a little bit more experience with you on the road and learning new fisheries." And I qualified the second year and he said, "Let's go for it." So I went for it, and his sponsorship was amazing. Yeah. Couldn't have done it without him. But it still wasn't enough. Like I was sleeping in the truck and during practice I would, have to decide which end of the fish I was going to fish just for gas or for other reasons like that. Yeah. And it was a great experience. I bet. Yeah. The only bad part about it was the travel. Yeah. And I was working a full-time job for Gambler Lures, which was just an amazing coincidence that happened while I was in Florida fishing the tour. And so I'd work, and then jump in the truck and drive 18 straight hours to practice. And we'd have 3 days of practice, 1 day off, and then a 3 or 4 day tournament. And then it was jump in the truck and drive 18 hours back, 40, 50 hours, and yeah, it was a challenge, but it was full bore.
So amazing to me to think, here's a kid from Maine and hey, I'm going to be a professional bass fisherman. That's, that blows my mind but you're not a person that shies away from, a dream or a challenge or anything like that, you just jump in.
I go after it. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yep. Yeah. And it was honestly an incredible experience. Yeah. I miss the camaraderie, and the competition. Yeah. Those are the two things. Cause a lot of people say, how could you just walk away from, how could you walk away from it? How do you miss it? And I say, well, I don't miss the driving. Yeah. I don't miss the bank account being negative. Yeah. I don't miss that stress.
It was a stage in your life, a great experience, but sometimes we move on to other things and
Yep. It's just the guys I miss. And the cool thing about once I made it to the top pro level, everybody pulled for each other. Yeah. Even though we were competitive
which doesn't happen in a lot of sports.
No, it doesn't. No. Everybody really pulled for each other. There, out of 200 or 250 guys, there's only 1 or 2 outliers that were just there for themselves. Everybody else was really cool about it.
You're always, like we were saying, you're always going to have people that.
Yep. It was a good ratio, though. The right way.
Absolutely, yeah. The good far outweighed the bad.
Yeah, so. And everybody kind of was in the same boat. Yeah. One way to put it. Where most of us were just trying to keep the dream going. Yeah. And hope it was your day.
Trying to stay afloat.
Yep.
So the truck, did you buy that brand new?
No, that was actually the sponsored vehicle.
Yeah.
No kidding.
By my sponsor. Yeah. So the first year I went on the road, I had a 98 Suburban with a 45 gallon tank, and it didn't make it through the year. Yeah. I was broke down every other tournament, missing practice days. It was bad. Yep.
That's where, you see, sometimes you can, I don't want to say luck, but you can have the talent and everything else, but if you got things that you're working against,
Yeah.
it can really hinder you. You know, you can have all, you know, if you're starting off and you got things, you know, you can't get in the practice because you got equipment that isn't working or whatever. I can see where that really
that was a tough part.
a very big disadvantage.
Yeah.
To try to get up to the point where yeah.
And then weird stuff happens like on the water. Like there's one tournament I still lose a little sleep over where I found the fish. You know, I found the winning fish in a professional tournament, and I broke down.
Was that when you hit the log?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. That was a different time. But,
Right.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about.
This was a $5 solenoid and a lower unit. Shut the motor off.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And you're literally you're dead in the water and you can't get back.
Yeah, and that truck now has over 400,000
Yes,
miles.
I think it's like 408.
Oh my
and
God.
That's
Same
amazing.
motor?
All easy miles.
Yeah. I've seen where you go, Joe.
all easy. You know, not towing. One owner. Let's go. No, two owners. Easy miles.
It's gonna be on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Joe, when you get done with it and it doesn't owe you any money,
Not a bit.
that is probably going to the graveyard or whatever.
I got a feeling.
Yeah, unless somebody buys it for a camp or something to plow snow, you know, puts a plow on it just for at camp.
Yeah.
And I knew you had to put a new front end in it. And that was a big deal.
Yeah, it was during trapping season, and
you were without 4-wheel drive.
Yep. Yeah. It was scary for a while there because I was continuing to trap.
Yeah.
You know, I had to keep it going because once you get them traps out, you're on a deadline.
Yeah.
And so I had to be careful where I went and how I did it. And, And we arranged it with a mechanic in Ashland. Once you get up in the county, the people are just awesome.
Yeah, they are.
You know,
Ashland's a good town.
Phenomenal.
Paul and I both worked,
Ashland's
I worked
great.
there 20 years in Ashland, and
Ashland's
Paul worked
fantastic.
Yeah. And,
there. We know a lot of the same people. And
Chris Bessie's is
I know.
my
Yeah, I know
there.
Chris well and stuff. And,
Phenomenal, and just
yeah.
It's honestly for me because you guys live up here, but I get to see both worlds. I come up and I live up here for 6 months or whatever, but it's like turning the clock back.
Yeah.
You know, in time to what Jefferson used to be when I was a kid.
But once you hit Bangor, Millinocket, it's like the
Millinocket.
Yeah, it's like the heart rate just goes down.
Yep.
North of Millinocket.
This is all I've known. I've
It's incredible.
Yeah, this is my entire life up here. So
I hope it never changes for you. I hope it.
I don't see it changing.
Yeah, I hope it's.
I don't have that many years left. You
might have more.
So I don't see it. I don't see it changing for me. Paul, of course, he's got to be out of this house. I don't know if you knew.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
the government's
is taking.
No,
this house.
They're gonna tear it down. That's why the room's not finished.
You are kidding.
No,
man.
eminent domain.
Yeah.
Are you? You are serious?
Yeah.
You're the only person I've ever met.
These 3 houses right here.
Why?
They're going to build a new port, and I guess the new road's going to come right up.
Why don't they build it on the other side?
I know, right? We own 15 acres out back. But yeah, it was supposed to happen a lot sooner, but it keeps everything's in limbo. So you don't want to do anything to your house. And
oh my gosh.
Because we were getting ready to put in a new bathroom when the funding went through. And we're like, yeah.
What are you going to do?
You got to figure out if we're going to build or where we're going to go. We got to wait till hopefully the spring, the appraisal and all that stuff will happen.
Boy, tough time to build.
Well, yeah. We've just been in a weird limbo state for like 3 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Like
geez, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, I mean, hey.
I would have never known. I somehow missed that if that was on a previous podcast.
We haven't talked about it much.
No, I think
once.
we've kind of alluded to it there once or twice, but not a lot.
They talked about it for a long time.
Yeah.
And then funding went through officially like 3 years ago.
What a kick in the
So then Lacey got on the horn. She's like, okay. So she got a hold of someone in Boston because no one will tell you anything with the government. It's all just like, so she got a hold of a girl finally in Boston. And then we were having like monthly meetings and, how this is going to work. And
oh my gosh.
So, but yeah, then it was just kind of at a standstill. And we're like, listen, we need to know, like our kids are connected to the community.
Yeah.
Life. Yeah.
Life.
We got to figure out what we're going to do here. And
you're not just a number, you're a person.
Yeah. And like Lacey wanted to, you know, do some stuff around the house, new bathroom. She wanted a bathroom that she wanted, stuff like that. And
gets you off the hook though for a lot of
Honeydew.
jobs around the house.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
honeydew
not
was-
like for your viewers out there, that's not a bad idea to pull the old eminent domain card. You know, and then when she tries to find out any info, she can't.
Yeah.
So it's like all that to-do list or whatever
My
might go away for a lot of people.
That's right.
I don't mean to make light of your situation.
No,
Sorry,
no, my God.
sorry
You
about
can't.
that.
No,
I
you
can't.
can't.
Okay.
Yeah, it is what it is,
Yeah,
Joe. You
yeah.
know that.
Well, I'm just trying to help some viewers, you know, like if they get their to-do list to go away. Well, we might.
The government might take
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I even got the kids ripped off a towel rack in the bathroom. You'll see the spackle that's up there. I replaced the holes, put a new towel rack. I'm like, I'm not even painting it.
Yeah.
But that was 3 years ago.
So they'll just tear it down?
So yeah, they're gonna.
Jeez.
Yeah, I just finished this room.
Oh,
Hadn't
my
finished the stairs, and so then I'm like,
Well, that explains a lot. I didn't want to say anything.
Doing
No,
it-
just
yeah.
kidding. Just,
Why are you just leaving
just
that?
kidding. Totally
My
kidding.
neighbor across the road, his big thing was he's 62 and he's about ready to
Oh,
retire,
Man.
and he's like, I don't want to move.
Huh.
Like he's like, I just kind of wanted to retire and finish out my
Live his
life
life right there.
And
But you know
He's,
what, though? You'll come out better than ever, I bet.
I
I hope
think
so.
Change, you know, no one really loves change,
Yeah.
but I found
Yeah.
it you can come out better if you
Yeah.
go into it
Yeah.
with the right attitude.
Well, it's right. A lot of that's up to
Yeah.
the individual, Joe, and stuff.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
It'll give you a better opportunity to
Yeah.
maybe design a place you
Yeah.
like better and
Yeah.
build a different studio.
Yeah.
Or
maybe a little bigger,
we
a
all,
little
I
bigger
think,
studio.
yeah. I think in life we all look at something as like a bad thing that happened to us or whatever, and
Yeah.
then if you get a chance to look back 10 years later, you might have a different view of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You say that wasn't, it was an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
you're
something
like,
else.
if that didn't happen,
Yeah.
this wouldn't have happened.
Correct.
Like you don't
Yeah.
know where you're gonna end up.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly
Different
right,
things.
Joe. And that's how you have to look at it.
Yeah.
This could be an opportunity for something better,
Yeah.
and yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have the right
Yeah.
attitude.
So people will be like, well, what are you gonna do? And it's really, that's not the big deal to us. We just want to know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we just want a time frame.
Yeah. No
right?
kidding.
Like
Oh
that's
my
the only
gosh.
thing that's been like, yeah, it's a house.
Yeah.
Like you can build another one. You can buy another
You
one.
can.
That's not a,
Yeah.
like I'm not married to this home, but we would kind of like some idea, hey,
Right. Yeah. You don't want to be spur of the moment saying, "Hey, we got to move, and we don't
Yeah.
have a place to move to."
Yeah.
You'd like to plan.
because you talking about trades and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh my
You want to get someone to build a home,
Yeah.
especially up here.
Yeah.
You're like 2 years out before it even starts,
Jeez.
Yeah.
unless you build it yourself,
Yep.
which I won't be doing that. But
No.
Well, give Donnie and I a call. Maybe we can
Seven
help you guys
7
out.
days, right?
Maybe that's all we
Donnie's
need
got
a
other
week.
things on his mind besides
He
building.
does. Yeah.
Good
he
for
does.
Donnie.
Up in
Yeah.
Vancouver.
I love it. I almost, I said, I got to make some of Donnie's donuts. And I'm sure there's thousands of people that have done that because
There
of
have.
your channel.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to do it.
It's amazing.
I'm going to
Yeah.
do it. And I thought it would be so great if Joe came up and I never did it, but if I had some donuts there, Donnie's donuts.
Have some
and
cuss
stuff.
nuggets. And
Not like
Donnie's
you
donuts.
haven't had-
That'd be awesome.
Not like you haven't had one or two of them, Joe.
I've had a lot. I was about half my size before I met Donnie. No, just kidding. But the funny thing is, I've never made Donnie's donuts because I've never had to.
He's always around.
He's always made them, and why would I try to do something better than the
Well, that's what
master?
I was thinking
Yeah.
of. I thought I'm building something making something for these people that are experts. That probably isn't a good idea.
He
so-
honestly wouldn't mind.
no,
Yeah.
that's probably not a good idea.
We got
Teach the master.
we got some kids in trouble on one of my videos.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think I posted this. Yeah, because they got in trouble. It was Stevie's brother's kids.
Yeah.
Now Stevie and his brother, their mother is one of the best cooks I've ever met.
Yeah.
She actually made the first cuss nuggets I've ever eaten.
Okay.
Millinocket, are they from?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
From Millinocket,
Yeah.
and then and so she's a amazing from scratch cook.
Yeah.
And she makes donuts.
Yeah.
And Donnie fed those donuts to her grandkids, and they said on film, "These are the best donuts I've ever had." And I missed it through editing. I must have missed it. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And I might have gotten those kids in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Because, she watched that and she said, well, go get Donnie's donuts.
Yeah. No, she took it well. I know she did.
Yeah, but that's the old Maine sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yankee sense of humor right there.
Yeah. Joe Osgood.
Oh,
funniest guy I know.
Oh, that guy.
Joe Osgood.
That's right. You guys did some trapping, right?
Joe is the funniest, purest guy I've ever met.
Yeah.
My stomach had never hurt so bad from laughing. He spent a couple of days on the boat with us.
Oh, no kidding?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. He is, just to me, the typical Mainer, what you would think of,
We were making a list of all the words that he has for different things. It was crazy.
He wanted a piece of line. He said, Mark, he says, you get a strid of line? And I said, what's a strid of line?
I never heard that.
He said, just a piece. Well, 18 inches, he said. I said, okay. Yeah.
The stuff he comes up with is so quick.
Yeah,
it would honestly take me a week to think of something.
Yeah, he's got a
and it's literally before the last.
He opens up
his
tackle box there, and he was looking for something, and he goes, well, "I just got to figure out which piece I need," and he pulls out this great big rat's nest of lures and stuff.
Oh my gosh,
we were laughing.
You guys must have died at that.
Oh my God,
he's a good.
That was the best couple of days of just.
Yeah,
if they ever cast like a movie for 1950s Maine, he'd have to be the star.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks. You could, if you put him in black and white, you wouldn't know what
the accent
is, what century you're in.
And he's just, well, like you say, what you would think a Mainer was 75 years ago and stuff. And
we've gotten together 3 times, I think, and 2 of the times I was sick, and 1 time he was sick. So we're trying to get together.
I
without
noticed you guys.
Sick.
Yeah. One time, Joe, you really sounded bad.
I was on death's door.
You were tough.
Yeah, it was bad.
You toughed it out.
Yeah, I lost my voice.
Yeah, you did.
And then it hurt to laugh. And he's the worst person to have on your trap line when it hurts to laugh.
I thought Joe really toughed it out because I'd have been back at the cabin curled up in bed.
I was hurting.
You should have been there.
I was hurting. I'm not gonna lie.
Was that this winter?
It was. It was during the trapping season.
I had a week this winter that it was right after deer season.
Yeah,
something knocked me right.
Yeah, and I did too, and that's why I was thinking of that, because I was basically a solid 4 weeks, and I still had the cough at 5 weeks after I got sick. And at the worst of it, Joe, I couldn't stand up.
No,
and I didn't go to the doctor or anything, but it was some bad days there. I think I must have had that type A influenza or whatever.
It was something.
Yeah.
We always called it like the creepy crud.
Creepy crud, yeah.
Oh, you did too?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was just a...
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was... So it got to the point where it really did hurt to laugh, and he's the worst person to have on the trap line. He pulled that one out on me. I don't know if you guys ever caught it, but I was running those plastic Connie pans for a trigger for my conibears, and I was trying them this year, and the best way to do it is just buy that corrugated like plastic that they use for
signs.
For signs.
Yeah, I saw that on you.
So I had a red one, and I was telling people it was a Susan Collins 1997 sign, I think, from her first run, or 1994. Yeah, and he immediately says, he goes, yeah, there's some old timers somewhere watching this saying, them youngsters, they don't know we've been running them since Abraham Lincoln. We used to run Abraham Lincoln Connie pans. And to this day, I can't even watch that video without crying from laughing so hard. And I think next year he's going to come out with his own line of Abraham Lincoln Connie pans.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, but just how he said it too.
Yeah, the guy will fix the delivery. Anything.
Yeah,
that down east humors.
And you know that was one of the things when I did travel the country and fish the tour. One of the biggest things I missed about Maine was the sense of humor. Yeah. There's a sense of humor in Maine, and even more like down east. Down east is the tops.
Yeah, they're tough, hardworking people too. Yep. Down easters.
Yeah. Oh,
the Brandons and they are tough, hard work. I don't want to get off track there, but I was watching one on the cabin build there, and I see Brandon jump from
oh my God,
and that scaffolding move,
I know,
and I'm going, holy crap!
And did he even flinch?
He didn't.
No,
but
literally
the next thing I see this winter is poor Brandon has fallen and stuff,
know.
and thank God he's all right.
Yeah, he's a top-notch guy.
And he tough.
Yeah.
Down Easters, they're tough, hard-working.
Tough, and not only that, like that sense of humor, the way they can say a sentence is they can get to words in a joke without saying something directly.
Right.
It's the craziest. I've never seen it anywhere else in the world, how they come to that sense of humor. Where afterwards you're like, what did he say? Oh my God, he said, like the whole, like he'll hand you a plate and say, that'll fill the void, won't it? And it's just like stuff like that. It's just nonstop. And those guys are, I mean, they're all shirt off their backs type of guys.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I always admired your cadre of friends, Joe. What a great,
lucky.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
And if
but you know, that speaks to you as much as to them, Joe, because
thank you.
Yeah, no, it does.
If you think Brandon's tough, you got to get his dad on this channel, or I'll get him on or something.
See the one that they talked about how many broken bones he'd had? I remember.
How
I saw him on the
50, maybe more.
Yeah, I think Brandon's now trying to chase him.
We told him stop. We told him stop chasing him. We said you're never going to catch him. His dad was buried alive. His dad fell off a 54-foot ladder.
Shoot.
Broke his back. I mean, he's broken everything. Burned. It's like, I don't know if you ever saw that movie Groundhog Day. Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah.
Where they're talking about, I've been burned, I've been this, that. His dad could say that.
Yeah.
And he's one of the nicest shirt off his back type of guys you'll ever meet. The apple didn't fall far from the tree there.
Yeah.
Yep. But Brandon,
I also watch Brandon's show, KBC Outdoors.
That's awesome.
I subscribe to that and watch all of them and stuff. And
they got a great channel, and they've just done a great job, and they're finding their niche with it, a little bit, and it's a great show and great group of guys. It's hard because they're dialed down a little bit on the channel from real life because it's too much for some people. On TV it's too much, not in real life.
Yeah.
But no, I was there at the hospital this summer because he fell 2 stories plus the embankment.
He was in tough shape.
They life flighted him.
Yeah.
He was.
I knew that. They did a little segment there. His buddy there, I can't remember if it was Cameron or who. They did a little segment on it there after, and talked about it. And he went in and visited him and stuff.
Yeah.
And Brandon said, I'm going to be out there hopefully in a few weeks moose hunting and stuff.
Imagine.
And he was.
Yep. And he was in a lot of pain, but you'd never know it. No. But I was so at the hospital. I was there at the hospital, and they were trying to release him like the first day, and then the second day, and he couldn't even move.
Yeah,
and
they do that at hospitals now.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
like
it is.
It's just wrong.
Yeah,
what they tried
we went
to do.
through that with my mom last year.
Awful.
So yeah.
And I ended up being there the day they were releasing him, and they sat him in a wheelchair. And that was the first time he'd bent his body.
Right.
And he had like sciatica, like his sciatic nerve was gone.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, this is the God's honest truth. That guy turned a different shade of white than I thought was imaginable, because he's already as white as you can get. Yeah. He got to about where I'm sitting now, and he said, get me out of this chair. And I had to lift him up like in a way that it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
you laid him in the back of your is it a Suburban that you have?
It's a Yukon. Yeah, it's just the GMC version.
Yeah,
Yukon
exactly.
XL.
Same vehicle.
Yeah. But I didn't know I was going to be transporting them, so I went and picked up a bed, because normally I have a bed in there.
Right.
But it was summer, and I had 5 gas cans, 2 chainsaws, 15 extension cords. I had the weirdest, like 3 shotguns. I had the weirdest array of stuff. Like if you had an inventory of what was in that truck, you wouldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
So it was loaded.
Like, what's this guy doing?
I'm like,
what's he doing?
So he couldn't sit in his wife's seat to get home, and his wife was there, of course. So I was like, all right. I called a mattress store, found a mattress, and we set the mattress up like this, and he just laid on it while it was vertical, and we laid them all down together so he didn't have to fold, and slid them in. We literally slid them in, and
well,
got him home.
That's why you have friends the way,
But I mean, he'd have done the same thing for a stranger. You know what I mean? That's that down east. Yeah. He's a great guy, and I met those guys ice fishing.
Yeah,
on Telos Lake.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah.
That that's another story. We could talk for days, Joe.
As long as you want.
The night you spent on Telos, at 40 whatever.
Oh, yeah.
below.
Yeah, that was.
And I'm
That was risk
thinking-
of the propane tanks.
Yeah, that was actually
dangerous.
So that was actually 5th St. John. That was even further in.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
it was more dangerous than T-Loss, because T-Loss you got an escape. You know, you got your
that
you
was
got
dangerous. If your sled, and because
it was dumb.
I thought, well, me, I'd have froze to death.
Yeah,
I'm so thin.
that's why I do this.
There's a strategy.
Yeah, I'm working on my before
It's
picture.
called survival, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm working on my before picture, he said.
It's a survival mechanism or whatever. Yeah.
That was the craziest night I think I've ever had in my
Yeah,
life.
and I thought about all the things, man, you go out and you can't walk somewhere because you'd probably freeze to death walking at that temperature.
Yeah, because
Propane freezes, gels up, or doesn't work at that temperature.
45, I think.
And
right?
What if the sled doesn't start or
know.
whatever, and
Yep.
you survived.
It was I never felt scared or anything doing it. I thought I could probably run to the truck if I need to, but who knows if the truck's going to start. And if you followed me now, I was even more cavalier growing up. Like, I'm just going to do what I want to do. If it happens, it happens. If it's my time. But I'm not going to let fear ever dictate what I'm doing. Like people always say, what about going in the woods? I never had a cell phone till I was 40 years old. Even when I fished the Bass Pro Tour, I never even had a cell phone till I took over the business and had to have it for the responsibility. But like going into the North Maine Woods alone and as far away from everybody. And, my parents, they get a little upset at it. They did, especially when I was younger. And,
the Camp Carnage
Yeah,
stories.
I'm interested in that.
That like I said, we could literally talk for days.
They sent the airplane after me, and that's something my dad's still a little bit embarrassed about, but how that worked. Did you hear that? Did I tell that story? Or?
You did, yeah.
I'll tell it again if you want.
I can't remember exactly, but you get caught in a snowstorm or something, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you're living in your truck.
So that year was the first year I built a camper. I bought a $200 camper, and Donnie and I, we tore it down pretty much and just rebuilt it so I could trap out of it. It wasn't like what we could build now, it was enough.
Bare.
Yeah, it was pretty bare. It was Camp Carnage. And they had predicted like 7 inches of snow. But when you're in there and you're watching the weather and you're paying attention, you know what a snowstorm's going to be. That when that sky turns what it did. And so I packed up at, I want to say like 2 a.m. or something and headed out. And while I was driving out, towing the camper, it was over the front bumper. Already.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it ended up being like 48 inches of snow.
I do remember you said that you just stopped and the wardens came in.
Yeah, I stopped where I knew that they were going to be logging eventually.
Right.
And I said, well, they'll be in like in a week or whatever. Yeah. I'm good for a month.
Yeah.
And so I literally just stayed there and read books in the camper for like
no kidding.
3 or 4 days. I remember like it was like the 4th day, I think. This plane kept flying overhead. And it was getting closer and closer and circling. And I'm like, what is this guy doing?
I'm trying to read.
I honestly was saying that. It was like the biggest inconvenience ever. And and I didn't have a snowmobile then. I had a truck worse than even now.
Well, no heat in that truck.
No heat. And it was.
No heat in his truck.
Yeah, no heat. I never ran heat.
2-wheel drive.
2-wheel drive. Yeah, 2-wheel drive. And that had 290,000 miles, I think. It was $1,500 truck, which was expensive back then for me. And finally a warden came in on snowmobile and made it in, after it had settled. And he said, are you Trapper Joe? And I'm like, yeah. And he said, you missed a deadline. And I said, deadline? I don't have any deadlines.
I had no deadline.
What? And he's like, yeah, you missed your deadline and your parents are worried about you. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't have a deadline. And we talked for a little while, and he ended up just turning around and leaving. I said, well, call home and tell him I'm okay. And he did.
Be out in the springtime.
Honestly, it wasn't quite spring, but yeah, it was. I'll be out. And the loggers eventually came through and got the wood and cut where they were gonna. And what had happened was Skip Bates, the game warden at the time.
We know Skip.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Awesome deer hunter.
tremendous just about everything other than coyote trapping, but we'll get into that later. And I always like to throw that dig in just in case he's watching.
Yeah.
But so he was on vacation, and my dad heard we got smoked by a snowstorm that was supposed to be like 6 or 7 inches. So he was worried. So he called just to say, hey, have you heard anything from Joe? That storm was worse. Well, somebody else answered the phone, and then they put him to another warden because that was covering for Skip. So it was like that old game of telephone where a kid would say something, and it'd get around, and by the time it got around the circle, whatever the story was way off.
Way different.
So that's how it ended up being, that I missed a deadline, and I was a lost trapper, and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah.
Joe says, I'm not lost.
No, I was like trying to read this book. I'm trying to read this book. I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah. Oh, those were interesting stories. You think about that. You think about a young man that there's not many people, Joe, that would.
I loved it.
Yeah.
How long ago was that, Joe?
That would have been like, so I graduated college in 01, and 02, I just said, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And I didn't want to work in an office or inside at all. And I want to say I was still milking cows then. And I just said, you know what, come October, that's it. I'm going to throw my sleeping bag and my shotgun and my rifle and a bunch of canned foods and a can opener in my truck. And I threw a cap over the back of that 2-wheel drive truck. And I just went for 3 or 4 months. And I wanted to see Maine, because I'd lived in Maine my whole life, but I'd never seen it, like places like this. And I just traveled and slept in a new town, not new town, but new areas in the North Maine Woods every night, and hunted partridge and rabbit and deer and really, a lot of kindness from strangers, like
made a lot of friends.
Yeah. Made a lot of friends along the way. And so I did that for, and just slept in my truck for the whole year. And Stevie's dad was in the Soda Hunt campground off the Telos Road at the time.
Right.
And I ended up, staying with him towards the end of it. And then the next year, Stevie and I were going up, and he's like, yeah, my dad's running a trap line. Do you want to see it? And I'm like, what? A trap line? Because I never grew up trapping. We really didn't even grow up hunting. Yeah. And I was like, trap line? What is this trap line you speak of?
Yeah.
And I got to go with George on his trap line. He took me under his wing, and ever since then the next year I trapped out of the same truck, no camper. I threw more stuff in there. And I remember I took boards, because Donnie has that sawmill, and we milled out a bunch of boards. And we threw boards over the rail of the truck. So it was still under this uninsulated cap. And we threw boards over so I could store like my stuff and then sleep underneath it in that sleeping bag. Same sleeping bag I use today. Actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then traveled all over state. I remember the first year that I did it, going back a year, I was sleeping at the Forks, and it was like, I don't know, like 3rd or 4th night in. And it's like 2 a.m. And I'm hearing something. And at that point, I'm like still scared of like people in the woods,
right?
And I'm 18 years old or whatever I am. And I'm hearing like this scratching, and I'm like, what the heck? And then the truck starts moving. I'm like, somebody's outside my truck, like trying to break in or pushing on the truck or whatever. So I had a pistol and a flashlight. The flashlights weren't what they are now. You know, this is before LED. And I remember I shined that thing and put it up, and it was glass window in that little top. And all I saw was a reflection of a guy holding a gun with a light. and it turned out it was a moose licking the salt off my truck. It was a cow moose, and she was going to town on that truck. And it scared the bejesus out of me.
Hell, that is too funny.
Yeah, and I didn't sleep for like 2 days after that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happened that same week, this is true. This is funny. I was stopping at gun shops too, because I was looking for like a certain 1100 Remington that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I stopped at the Lincoln gun shop. I don't know if you remember that. It was like,
I don't.
It was on Main Street.
I don't think I've ever been in Lincoln.
Well,
I had just drive through down the interstate.
I don't want to offend anybody by saying you're not missing anything. The people from Lincoln are awesome.
Yeah, I've run into people from Lincoln in the woods and stuff, but I've never been to the town. Never had a reason to.
Yeah. Well,
so
I don't think I have either.
I was stopping at gun shops, and I think Stevie was looking for an 1100. That's what it was. So I was trying to find him one at a good price, and I must have got in there like 5 minutes before closing. And the owner was dealing with a customer. Hello, yep. And I went right in the back. And the next thing I know, the lights get shut off and the door is locked.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm in the back of this gun shop. And I'm like, this doesn't look good. I go running to the front. he's gone. Like he was in a rush to go home or something, like 4 o'clock, gone. And I remember I'm like pounding on the door because it's Main Street, like downtown. And like a woman's walking by with a kid and she like covers his eyes because I'm in this gun shop, like screaming and pounding on the door. You know, they kept walking by and I'm like, this isn't good. Like this doesn't look good either.
No,
like,
you're going to get arrested.
I'm going to get arrested or shot. Like this is not good. And then luckily for me, like 10 minutes later, the owner comes back and unlocks and he goes, I got halfway home and I was like, was there another guy in the back? He remembered I was there. And so I got out and I was like, this is the heck type. This is an adventure. I'm on one heck of an adventure right now. And honestly, it hasn't changed since.
Joe, someday you got to write a book.
That's what my buddies tell me.
Yeah, you got to. Life and Times of Joe Holland.
I kind of mentioned to you, I was like 30 or 40 years from now, people are going to be like, remember that Joe Holland guy?
Listen, Joe, 30 or 40 years from now, people are not going to be able to relate to your going up there in nothing but a pickup cab and stuff. I don't think they could relate to it now.
Probably not.
No. Who would have the kahunas to do that?
18 years old.
Yeah, I think it was like, to this day, I still put comfort at not I don't put it at a premium. I put it as like one of the, like you just find your comfort level in anything. And there's so many people that are way less comfortable than I am. So, you know, when it's like, it's cold. Well, it's really cold where some people live. You know,
there's people that have it a lot worse.
Way worse. And I've just kind of always had that mentality. And when you're doing something you love or you really want to do, your level of comfort goes down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've never been to your camp and you haven't been to mine, but like sometimes just going to a camp, you know, and you don't have any of the comforts of home, but you're at camp and you're like on
we
high.
did that. We did that. And no running water.
Yes.
And, window plumbing.
I always say, like,
and you don't care. You don't care.
No, not at all.
Joe,
I could live that way.
Yes, exactly.
But I got a wife.
Yeah, that's true.
I could live in the wall tent.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly with my wife. No, I don't know if I want to do a wall tent now at this age, but certainly going to the outhouse at 30 below, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that every day.
Yeah,
but nothing feels better. Like I love to deer hunt.
Yeah,
long day in the woods, cold.
Yep.
Nothing feels better. You get back to camp, sit by the fire,
and
warm food.
Yeah.
Like it is so
I really
much
feel bad
better
for people who've never done it.
Yeah,
I truly do. Like when I sit by that wood stove, and it's just ripping, and you're getting that wood warmth, and you work hard to get that wood in there. Donnie's dream. Yeah. Ken, friend of mine, made that wood stove. It's incredible. Yeah. And when I'm sitting by it, I'm just like, man, I feel bad for the people that don't get to experience this. Because it just warms your soul.
We got a phrase for that, don't we, Paul? We won't say it here.
We can say it. We'll be sitting at camp. Wonder what the poor people are doing. That's like we're sitting by the lake by the fire.
That reminds me, Donnie and I, and you've seen Donnie on my videos. He's one of the best people I've ever met. We, for like 2 or 3 years, we would say, man, I was so poor growing up. And we weren't. You know, he wasn't, and I wasn't either. Like my parents, amazing. My mother's a school teacher. My dad, he had a trash business. He was a blacksmith. He raised us too. And I guess you'd call it like middle class at the time. You know,
we were all that way, I think, back. And, you know, we didn't starve to death and we didn't know any different, you know.
Yeah.
We didn't have things as kids. My family didn't, but we had a house and food,
everything you needed.
Everything we needed. But things are different now. We weren't given a lot of material things. We did what you probably did, Joe. We played ball outdoors with our buddies.
Yeah. We played ball till we got in trouble.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what we did. Or in the wintertime, you get a workout. You found a hill and you slide down it and back and forth, you know, up and down for
I'd chisel
hours.
ice in the dooryard in the springtime just so I could play basketball outside.
Yeah.
So,
chisel for hours.
Donnie and I did we would joke about it. We'd say, man, we were so poor growing up. We'd have to decide which car we were going to take. You know, we'd make light of it. You know, and his wife, who's since passed, it would drive her bananas for us to talk like that because she never saw the humor in it. So she'd yell, "You weren't poor. You weren't poor." And this, my parents, we had a indoor pool in the house.
Oh, I know. You were not poor.
I just lost like 600 viewers.
I had a mud puddle out in front of the house.
I know. No, listen. Yeah, no, we were
actually
we did awesome, and that's how I cut wood. We burned 10 cord a year on it. But I would say, like, while we're having these conversations to Donnie, I'd say, Donnie, I was so poor that we had to decide if we were going to heat that indoor pool to 72 or 74. And he would just cry laughing, and Barbie would get so upset. And it was stuff like that, back and forth.
Yeah. I was fortunate, my parents had a camp, so it was nothing special, but it was still, we had a place to go to every weekend, and we had a pool in front of it, the lake and stuff. So,
Good times.
And
the humor,
Still got the same camp today. They got it in 62.
Yeah.
My dad bought it in 62.
Bought it at a card game.
No way.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
He was up there with a bunch of men. They were playing cards, and the owner had a family of 10, counting his 8 kids and his wife and him, and he needed a bigger place. And he mentioned it to Dad, and Dad bought it on the spot, and then had to come home and tell Mom that he had bought a camp.
I remember you saying
My
that.
grandmother had 4 kids, all a year apart.
Yeah.
The upstairs of your house wasn't finished.
We were all living. The kids were all
one vehicle. Gramp comes home and is like, "Hey, we bought a camp this week."
Yeah.
How'd that go over?
Not good at the time.
But she said before she passed,
later in life,
like,
she
that was
said
one
it
of the
was the best move that he
best
ever
things he
made.
ever did.
Not good at the time.
No, it must have been great going there though, and bring the family tighter.
Yeah. We had a good time, Joe.
Camps are
no
amazing.
complaints.
Like
I said, we didn't have a lot of material, but I had a boat from the time I was.
So you were busy.
So and back then, they gave us free range. I mean, when you were old enough, 8 or 9, you get in the boat and go.
Yeah.
Had a 9.5 horse motor and
go fish the beaver dam.
Yeah. You could go where you wanted to go.
Be back by dark.
Be back.
Yeah.
Not even then sometimes. And my mom would say, "Well, he's not back." Well, Dad would say the fishing's good.
Yeah. Which
He's
it probably was,
probably
right?
catching fish, so that's why he's not back at dark. So, and he was right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I got to ask you this, where was Camp Carnage?
So that would have been just south of the T-Loss checkpoint. So Cuxabexis, Chizuncook area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of deer back in there.
It was crazy back
We
then.
hunted
crazy.
We hunted down towards the north side of Baxter State Park. And
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in around Kellogg Brook and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Midnight Pond. And we hunted deer in there in the early 2000s. And it was good then.
We probably crossed paths then. We were in the south side of the park.
Yeah, we were the north side. You could hunt in the, I think.
We didn't have that kind of money. We were just on the south. Oh, wait, did you come up Wadley Mountain Road, like from Millinocket side, or were you coming down like
No, we're coming down from Pinkham Road.
Mattawamkeg or
Pinkham Road.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you go down and, just before you hit Chamberlain
like
Bridge, you take
Coffee Loss. Go past
I don't know
Coffee
if I'm allowed to say that word, Coffee Loss, on here. I had friends that fished that pond. They said never, ever say that again, that word out loud. But go ahead.
I'll cut it out.
No, put it in.
I'll cut it out.
But that whole area was, that's where I deer hunted and learned how to trap.
Yeah.
It was right in that area.
No kidding.
So we were on the south side, and, I could say this now because the deer are gone.
Yeah, it's not like it was.
Crazy how awesome it was, and we figured them out, and they were like in small wintering yards, but multiple wintering yards,
lots of them,
lots of wintering yards, and I found that out because I was finding deer antlers every year, drops in the North Maine Woods. So obviously they're wintering there if they're dropping in there,
exactly,
and close together, and that's how we learned how to deer hunt in that area. And that's when we started having really good success, was when we kind of learned how the deer were traveling and traveling to these yards or through them before they needed to get there.
Yeah.
And they were what I'd call them is micro yards or something, because it wasn't like a yard that would hold 200 deer or 500 deer. It was something that would hold like 20 or 30
used
for the
to
winter.
be a lot of them up here.
Yeah, there used to be
all
a lot
around.
No kidding.
around the camp and stuff.
Yeah.
Any place, you had good cover near a waterway, and that's where you had good cover, the, dark growth. Back in the day, deer yarded there. You know, that's...
And it was left alone.
So what happened, Joe, we've talked about that, is So they left those little areas, but they cut all around it and left little islands of, well, it didn't work.
Or you build a road right to it or through it, and then it's gone forever.
Yeah. So
yep.
It now the deer we have up here, they all travel a great distance to go to, and we have way more deer in the towns, yarding in the towns than out in the big woods or whatever.
I saw 60 today.
Did you? Oh, that Portage and Ashland are right full. It's where they travel 40 miles to get there.
Yeah. So last week or a little bit longer, it was 6 o'clock at night, and I drove from Ashland to Portage.
Yeah.
And I saw no less than 250 deer.
Yeah. See,
it was incredible.
I did that route for 20 years, so I traveled up Route 11, and I like same thing. I'd see that.
Has it always been like that?
As long as I can remember.
No kidding.
You go out the Wrightville Road, same thing. I don't know if you've ever been out the Wrightville Road or, it's the same thing. And down State Road coming towards Presque Isle out in Frenchville there. Yeah.
One of my buddies who's a logger, he's a woodcutter in there, he told me in May there'll be a beaten down trail on one of the major logging roads going in. And he said in early December, it'll be the same trail going the other way.
So we do the same. There's migration trails up by the camp, and the deer all head down them. And I actually have a camera on one in the fall, and I leave it up. And in April, you'll see the deer going north. Yeah. They're going back up the migration trail. So that camera's still there. We'll have to go up and get it.
Isn't that wild, though? Yeah. Like, is the trail you were on? Because I found one of those trails in like Oxbow, Sardis, and Stevie and I were on it. We started with one deer track. We were tracking a deer. Yeah. It was late. Yeah. And go 100 yards. Another one joins it. Go 100 yards. Two more join it. And they never left south on the compass. Yeah. Yeah. Like it would walk through a tree to stay south. And this trail was like that, and it looked like a cow trail when I used to round up the cows in the pasture.
Yeah. Yeah. We have the same thing up where there's fingers that come in from different directions, don't they?
All come. It's just like a.
And then when it hits this certain
freaking
road,
main highway,
and I won't say the name of the road.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it.
But it is about that wide, and if you have that much snow, it's that wide, just like you drove a truck tire. Right? This just
all going the same.
All going the same direction, headed south.
How do they know? Like generations? Is it?
Is
it learned or is it?
Yeah, they say that when a fawn, his mother will take him on that journey, and then that's it. They know.
Just like a salmon.
And they'll go that same route. Huh. The same exact route.
Crazy.
Next year. And,
you guys remember the park roads that were walking only?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I drug a buck like 4 miles.
Yeah.
One of those roads.
Yep. Yep. Same thing. We didn't start hunting. Once we learned, and when things started to go bad, we went further in, and we found pockets of deer and green growths and stuff like that. Yeah. And we wouldn't start hunting until we were 2 to 4 miles in, where we started like our hunts.
That's exactly what I did.
We picked up a track. We had a really close encounter with a buck that wasn't much different than that buck on the wall right there. That beauty. And then a year later, he crossed like 5 minutes before we got there, 4 miles in. And we tracked that buck for, I want to say like 4 hours in the ground we've never been in. This is before Onyx.
Yeah.
This was going at it, and we were losing snow the whole way. And it was a big buck, and we learned so much from this buck's character and how like he would come into like a swamp, and we'd be like, oh, we're gonna shoot him in this swamp. You know, we're tracking Stevie and I. We're tag teaming. I'm on the track going as fast as I can. He's over my shoulder looking up. And we're like, we're going to bust him in this swamp. He gets to the swamp, would not step into any opening. Yeah. And the one road he crossed, he completely went across it. There was no walking up it or anything. Yeah. He'd come to an open hardwood ridge, skirt it, go around it. We learned so much, like of stuff like growing up. You're like, oh yeah, that hardwood ridge is a good spot to shoot a deer, or that swamp's a good shot. It's only good when you're around towns, and that's all they have to live in. When they have a choice, they're not coming in the open, like a big buck like that. Yeah. So we were on them like 4.5 hours, end up getting them. Stevie shot him, 10-pointer, 150 whatever inches, just amazing. 200,
that's a big buck.
200 some odd pounds last day of the year. He'd hooked up with a doe. Yeah. And
Yeah, that's their.
And he sent the doe first. It was awesome. And he snuck out on us. Like he literally this high, like running this high. And I didn't want to take a shot like that. And he didn't either. And I snort wheezed and he stopped. And Stevie saw him and he shot him up this twitch, like this super, super old twitch trail. Yeah. Now, mind you, we're 4 hours in on this track. No idea where we are. Into Baxter.
Yeah.
So he shoots this buck. And it's like now it's getting kind of late. We've lost our snow. We can't backtrack out because it's gone. Like it's gone.
Yeah.
Like the snow was going.
And no GPS.
No GPS, no compass. And I'm pretty good in the woods with a compass. And we had like, Stevie's got like one of those memories where like he does not forget a thing. It's like a steel trap. It goes in. So he knows the lay of the land. So we know that the main arterial road is to our west and like west-northwest. So we can hump it through the woods and find this road. But I'm like, okay, half hour ago, we hit twitch trails that now have all those alders that are like 1 to 3 inches in it. Yeah. But that means they logged it, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and I do remember seeing blue ribbon, like logger's tape, that had grown like the tree had popped the ribbon, you know, from being like on it so long.
Right.
So they'd cut it maybe 20, 25 years ago. Yeah. But that tells you that if they logged it, they got the logs out.
Right.
So those twitch trails are going to connect to a road.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I said, okay, Stevie, I said, you're on the deer, you know, you dress it, I'm going to follow those twitch trails, you know, the half hour back and follow them out and see if I can find us a road. So we do. I go do that. And sure enough, I pop out on one of those roads in the park and I get to it and it still had like, you know, 2 inches of snow like in the road. And I'm like, there's a road. Yes. And I get out there and I'm like, there's no tracks in it. No truck tracks. So I'm like, where the heck am I? And I've studied a lot of mapping there, but I didn't really know where I was because chasing, when you're on a deer, you're not paying attention to your compass.
No, you're just going where
at all.
It takes you.
Sometimes you try to go, okay, I know. Do. Sometimes you try to go, well, I know where this is, or I know this stream that we just went across. And
no, we were in areas we'd never been,
you
know, and we hadn't crossed, and that deer would not take us to like a road or anything either. Like there's a reason why he went left when the twitch trails went right to a road. So I get on the road and I'm like, uh-oh. But I'm like, that's a good thing it's a road. But I followed it to the northwest thinking, all right, this is going to pop out on the regular road. And I go like a mile and it turns into winter road and dead ends. Geez. Yeah. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, all right, I've been gone from Stevie for an hour. He's done. We got to figure this out. It's getting late. So I go in and I said, I got good news and got bad news. And he's like, what is it? I said, good news is I found a road. He's like, what's the bad news? I said, I don't know where it goes.
There's no tracks on it.
And there's no tracks on it. So he's like, all right. So we took some coats and extra clothing, put it over the deer because there was a lot of coyotes back then.
Oh yeah, I do the same thing.
You have to peat all around it and all that good stuff.
I put a vest or
whatever we could do, you know, for it. And then I bring them out to that road, and it wasn't terrible far through the woods, like the quickest route to that road. So we taking it the wrong way, like east, southeast, what we think's the wrong way. Well, it ended up being like a wraparound. And we follow it. Finally, it hits another road. I don't know if you remember those park signs like Fish Hawk or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this had a sign on it. It was shot up, and it was a sign I'd never read before. Like I didn't even know this road existed. And Stevie goes, I got good news and bad news. I was like, all right, what do you got? And he's like, good news is I know where we are.
I know where we are. I knew you were going to say
what's the bad news? He goes, I know where we are. so now we're like, uh-oh. So I'm like, well, if you know where we are, and he tells me where we are. And the truck was 9.5 miles away.
Oh.
But it was that or woods. And woods at that time, we didn't quite know where we were, and we would have had to hit a needle, thread a needle.
Yeah.
So we roaded it and came back and went out, got a sled, and eventually got the deer out. But
those are good days, though.
Phenomenal days. You know what I mean?
Great stories. Those are the ones you look back on and you love it.
Oh yeah, blisters on your feet, you know, and you wore a set of boots out. And
dogs are barking.
I would do the same thing. Like those later years, we were kind of the north end of the park. Yeah. I'd go hit one of those roads, And I wouldn't even start hunting the road until I got like 3 or 4 miles into it. Remember there was a big buck that was crossing way, way into this. And I shot a buck in there. It was about 4 miles.
Yeah.
By myself, 10 o'clock in the morning. My cousin was like the next road down. You'd already shot a deer. You went out to town.
I went out for Thanksgiving because I'd shot a deer on that road, but I went 2 miles in and he went 4 miles.
So I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. I don't want to bugger up Jody's day. Yeah. And I had a half heart. I'm like, I'm not that far as a crow flies through the woods up to the main road. But I'm like, I got all day. I'll drag it out 100 yards at a time, carry my stuff out.
Yeah.
I did that all day long.
Yeah.
And I just get to the end of it.
With a sled or no?
No.
Oh, you're tough.
I would bring all my gear 100 yards down the road, go back, get the deer, drag it to my rifle. So we're getting a snowstorm. About 3 o'clock, it started snowing real hard. I keep going. Well, Jody had gone out to the pickup and he goes, you weren't there. Pretty soon I see this figure walking down the road. He goes, what are you doing? I said, dragging on a deer.
Wow.
I just about had her completely out.
And that was all uphill, the end of it there.
Yeah.
Quite a bit uphill.
It's uphill both ways.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. When you're dragging deer.
Well, 100% sure there was quite an uphill.
But it was one of those days, it was like, I just shot a nice buck. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
You get to do it once a year if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
And I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the day and maybe Jody will shoot a buck.
Yeah.
You guys mind a quick break?
No,
you go right ahead.
Yep.
You go right ahead. I might have to follow you down there, Joe.
All right. I concur with Joe. I think this is a great place to take a break. We had an over 3-hour conversation that felt like it was about 30 minutes. So we were just beginning to scratch the surface. A lot of good conversation. Had a fantastic time with Joe Holland. So show him some love. Go check out his YouTube channel at Joe Holland Fishing. Stay tuned because we have a lot more good conversation to come. So I hope you enjoyed this part. And until next time, get outside. It's good for the soul. See ya.